to the entertaining Talkin' Sports.
What is going on, football fans? Back at it with another New York Giants video. And in this video, I am going to talk about who is, in my opinion, the best player on this New York Giants football team, Saquon Barkley. And the fact that I think it would be in the New York Giants' best interest to sign this guy to an extension as quickly as possible. And it's why I always say the Giants can't go hog wild, as John Mara liked to say, in free agency. Because things like this are in the near future. You're going to need to extend this guy as soon as possible, and I would extend him at the conclusion of this year, as long as he is healthy, of course. Knock on wood. It's something that has been, done throughout the course of time now in recent history with the NFL, specifically at the running back position. Todd Gurley was extended after 3 years. Ezekiel Elliott was extended after 3 years, and I will get into those specifics in a second. And it's not just him. There's other players on this roster that will need some potential extending as well. Otherwise, you're going to have to let them walk. Jabril Peppers will be entering his 5th year next year. The same goes for Evan Ingram. Of course, players are, they hit the free agency after 5 years. And you have to decide whether or not you want to offer them their 5th year option as a rookie before the start of this season. So we'll see what the New York Giants decide to do with those two players. And in addition to that, you also have Daniel Jones, who will be entering his 2nd year. And the Giants, of course, that's not imminent. But I think specifically with the running back position, you want to try to extend them sooner than later. You do not want to wait the full 5 years. Couple of reasons. We'll start with, look at history. You look at Le'Veon Bell. They had to franchise tag him. It was a complete mess. The same can be said for Melvin Gordon. If you believe in these players, which the New York Giants should absolutely believe in Saquon Barkley, they showed that they believed in him when they took him number 2 overall at a position that generally does not go inside the top 5. Now, I know in recent history there's been a number of running backs that have crept up near the top 5. Christian McCaffrey, Ezekiel Elliott, Saquon Barkley, and there's a few others. But the Giants clearly showed that they want this guy to be the centerpiece for this offense, hopefully for the next 10 years, if he could stay healthy. But if you're being smart, and if you're being realistic, and a big reason why Giants fans did not want to take Saquon Barkley on draft night, the running back position breaks down sooner than pretty much any other position in the NFL. Now, of course, there are freaks of nature, right? And we hope Saquon Barkley is, and he very well may be. You saw the guy recover from a high ankle sprain in like 3 weeks. That is not normal. That is not the way that he was injured. It wasn't like a Daniel Jones ankle sprain. This was an ankle sprain where the guy couldn't walk, and he was back on the field, I think, in 2 or 3 weeks. So hopefully is that Adrian Peterson. Adrian Peterson, of course, was a freak of nature. He was still very good, and he's still playing, past 30 at a very high level. And there's a number of others who have been able to do it. But recent history would suggest that running backs typically break down around 28, 29 years of age, which is why you want to try to extend them before the conclusion of their rookie contract, because if you wait the full 5 years, they're going to be 26, 27, and then you're giving them that extension at the wrong period of time. The other benefit, of course, is the fact that the longer you wait, the more the market goes up. So if you could sign a player, any player, if you believe in them long term to an extension 2 years before their contract date is about to expire, knowing that the cap goes up by approximately 6 or 7% every year, you're going to be paying that said player a 6 or 7% increase. It only makes sense because that's the way the market goes, which means the players get paid that much more. So if they believe in Saquon Barkley, it makes complete sense to re-up this guy at the conclusion of this season. And I'll get into the contract details of Ezekiel Elliott as well as Todd Gurley, running backs who have done this in the past, and teams that have signed them. But it only makes sense. But anyway, let's pull up some numbers. Let's look into the contract details of some of these players. The first thing I wanted to show you was something I found off a website that I thought was very interesting. That was a fantasy football website. But what it did was it measured the peak seasons of running backs. By peak seasons, it means the best year the running backs ever had in their entire career. And it goes by age. Obviously, if you look, this chart pretty much shows you the peak years for a running back are from age 24 to 28. You could argue 23. It starts to peak a little bit. Saquon Barkley will be 23 this year. He just turned 23, I think, a week ago. So this will be his, age 23 season. 24 by this chart on average is the best season by a running back. And from 24 to 28 should be his peak years. And there is a dramatic drop-off after 28 years old. So if you were able to extend him after 23, you would then sign him to, say, a 5-year extension from 24, 25, 26, 27, 28. Those are his prime years. If you let the rookie contract run its course, not only do you have to deal with the potential holdout and all the nonsense and the franchise tagging and everything else, but then if you extend to a 5-year deal, you're having that contract leak into age 29 and 30. If you want to keep Saquon Barkley after 28, you want it to be a short-term deal so you could get out after 2 years. Obviously, seeing that chart and seeing the dramatic decrease after the prime year. So that is what I wanted to pull up for you guys in terms of the running back. Next thing I wanted to show you guys was the contract of Ezekiel Elliott. Now, Todd Gurley's was very similar. Todd Gurley signed a year earlier, but it was both of them were after 3 years in the league. Both their contract extensions. Zeke is signed through the age of 31. Now, this is something I would not want to do ideally. The Cowboys signed a 6-year extension. I thought that was a bit much. I would try to cap it at 5 years. Like I said, Barkley will be 24 next year, and if you were able to get a 5-year extension, it would get you through to about 29 or 28 rather, 24, 25, 26, 27, and 28, rather than all the way up to the age of 31. But regardless, this is what teams are doing more often than not, and with Gurley, it was the same thing. Unfortunately for the Rams, Gurley has suffered injuries. Now, I think he suffered an injury, or maybe it was just a decline in play his second year. Then he had the All-Pro year 3. They signed him to the big extension. He played great for them until he got hurt in the Super Bowl season. And then this year he struggled a little bit. And, the Rams supposedly may, look to get rid of him if they can because of his injury history. But this is the more prudent approach because the longer you wait on a running back, the more their value decreases, more so than any other position in the sport. So that's what I wanted to talk about. I wanted to talk about why I think it would be a much more prudent decision for the New York Giants to sign this guy as quickly as possible. Get his name on the dotted line. That is what the Giants should be looking to do, and it's why, like John Mara said, they should not go hog wild in free agency. They should be looking for 2-year contracts so they have the ability to do things like this, which will save them money down the line. That is my thought process with Saquon Barkley. That is my thought process with all these guys. You have to think about Peppers as well, Ingram as well. These guys are going to be looking to get paid. And, we'll see what the New York Giants decide to do. But as far as Barkley goes, get this done at the end of his 3rd year. That's my take on it. But, everybody's got their own opinion. As always, if you liked what you watch, please subscribe. Drop a comment. Maybe give me a little thumbs up. Cheers.